We have a mission here. We will be changing the default animations. To do that, go to Magnum series, blueprints, data. Fists, we have a sword, and we have guns, and we have gadgets. I wrote gadgets to basically mean like etc. I mean, you can put a shuriken there, something throwable that you can definitely make something out of it. If you want to create new data assets, right click and duplicate. We won't be doing that for now. If you have like sword animations, you can just change the sword montages. But right now we're just going to do the fists, as I have an animation here, an animation pack called Fighter Animations. And I'm just gonna show you how to replace or add more animations to your existing animations. In the data asset that I've opened, we have character montages here. Open that. We have takedowns and taken downs. This is for the player character and this is for the victim. They have to be at the same index for them to be properly paired with each other. We do have takedowns, so execution here. So yeah, we're just going to right click, and I mean, we can definitely do something like this, create a montage. But what I would like to do is actually just browse to the existing montage, duplicate, and call it something new. Now that we've made this, add element, animation montage, custom takedown attack. The reason why I like to duplicate instead of recreating the montage is that you can just select the animation and re-reference without having to redo the modifiers that I've set up. So if it's not changing, that means the skeletons are incompatible, and you gotta allow incompatible skeleton, or you can re-reference replacing the skeleton, but I'm not gonna do that just now. After doing the allow incompatible skeleton, we have this. If this one is on index 4, then the taken down should be also on index 4. So we have this, and then now that you've added more animation, let's play the game. Let's play from here. So basically, this one is for the fists, and you can have custom animations for each weapon. The sword, you can have a different animation for each of them. Different takedowns according to the weapon that you're currently equipping. Okay, now these two things here are for the idle animations and for the stunt. So if you want to change the idle animations, you just change the animation through here. If you want to keep the original, you should just make a duplicate and call this one custom. Hero custom animation sequence, and then we can change the idle from here. So we have idle from fighter animations too. Idle combat sequence, and this one is for the enemy, so you can have different types of enemy. Also, the way you're setting up your own animation blueprints, we go to blueprints, go to the mesh, and we have this ABP Mech Hero MC, and we're just going to take a look at what this is. This is actually MC Hero blueprint is just the normal third-person blueprint from the default third-person template, and there's really nothing in it. The cool thing about the new update is that you can just call the linked anim graph right here and then select the class to ABP Magnum Combat, and now we have this. We're going to compile this, and for the character animations, we are going to select the one that we just made, Hero Anim Sequence Custom, right? We can set this up through here, and then in pose, output pose, compile. Now here we are going to set this to true, and now we have our own idle animations. Now we are going to change the rolling animations. You should do so in fists montages. It's located right here. So dodges, we have dodge animations for each angle, for each degree, and we are going to change all of them. We are going to right click on it and then create anim montage out of all of them. And if you're determined to change the roll animations, you should match this order, the index order of each rolling animations with the animations that you have. This one is left back. We are going to change it into back left 45. Great, now we have replaced all of them. But man, if this is on fist montages, do we need to change it for sword montages and do all of that again? Now, the cool thing about using the data assets this way is we can just right click here, copy and paste. We need the dodges animations separated for each weapon because you might not want to roll or dodge the same way when you're using other weapons. Like for example, if you're using a sword, you shouldn't roll the same way you would without a sword, because the sword might appear like the sword is stabbing the character. Let's take a look here, and if you have this problem, it's okay. You can just go to it and click all the sequences and not the montages. Edit selection in property matrix. Select all of this and enable root motion for all of them. And now we have proper roll animations. Next, we're going to talk about the weapon sockets, Magnum series, blueprints, miscellaneous, shopping system, and weapon sockets. What you should focus on is BP weapon socket. This is the parent class, and right click on it, create child blueprint class. And then instead of naming it child, we can name it something else. So for example, axe. This is how you create your own weapon socket. And you want to add more meshes onto it, you can just change it here. So this mesh 1, mesh 2 is the katana, and mesh 3 is empty here, and just change it into something else. Change it into your own mesh. For example, here we have this socket guns. Open the full blueprint editor, and on mesh 1 we see the sci-fi gun 1, and this has the sci-fi gun 2. You can do the same on your own weapon socket. So weapon socket axe, you can just change it into mesh 1 and mesh 2 to acquire the weapon. You can use the shopping system component, like right here. So the buy item thing, the item name, you can change it to whatever you want. So handgun, whatever you want. But what really matters is here. Is this a buy item for an armor or weapons? If it's for armor, then you need to change the armor enum. Is it for the head or the torso for the gauntlet? But if it's for weapons, this armor enum will not matter at all. And equipment's weapons, we want this to be like, for example, sword right here. If the item number is 0, then what you've placed on mesh 1 will be selected, and if it's 1, item number 1, then what you've placed on mesh 2 will be selected. So we're going to try to buy the item number 1. So we get the mesh 2. If this one is set to item number 2, then we'll get the mesh 3, and so on. Now, if we have created our own weapon socket, how do we get it into the shopping system's ecosystem? We go to data, and we're just going to list it here. Open the weapon list. On socket lists, we're just going to open both weapon slots and slots name. We're just going to put weapon socket axe, the weapon socket that we just created, on gadgets, although it is not gadgets, and gadgets will be on hand R. Only for example, we are just going to put a random mesh 1 meter cube right there. Right here we are going to buy weapons and buy a gadget. Change it into number 0 so that mesh 1 will be selected. We are going to buy equipment's weapons, and we are going to buy a gadget. Let's test this out. So now we have this amazing axe. Alright, on Magnum Combat right here. Data asset getter right here. We can replace this with whatever we want. So we're using the placeholder montages here, and if you have like a new weapon, you can just change it here. So for example, you have animations for axe and you have a mesh for an axe. You should put the mesh right here and change the animations here with your axe ones. Does that make sense? Okay, and that is how you can add your own weapons, set up your own animations, and basically have your own game. Relatively short amount of time. Thank you so much for watching, and as always, good luck with your own project.